It's good. It's on. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Go ahead. Yes, it was. Is there another on there?
They probably didn't hear the answer though.
Oh, go ahead.
So again, like Trav saying, it's the same thing they try to push with David and Jonathan to say that this was some homosexual stuff. But again, the better version comes from the ISV. It says, therefore, he got up from the table, removed his outer robe, and took a towel and fastened it around his waist. So you can clearly see from this he is not naked. He took off like what would be in our time a jacket or a coat.
Yep. Is there another? While we waiting on the chat, do we got any questions in the room?
Go ahead, Doc. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's what it goes back to. Yeah. So he exalts himself. Where do eagles live? High up. That's what it's saying. He exalts himself as the eagle. We know that they live in the mountains, in the clefts of the rocks, high up. So how does an eagle, what does an eagle do when it attacks? It swoops. How does Esau attack you? It's the same thing. So he's giving you a metaphor of how these people live in this part. Yes, they live in. No, it's talking about exactly what it's talking about. These people will exalt themselves. They live in high mountains, not quote unquote. So we was taught that this meant skyscrapers and stuff. At the time, this is talking about exactly what it is. They live in the mountains, in the clefts of the rocks, the high mountains. So they live high up the same way the eagle does. He's comparing them, and if you study the eagle, you will know how ruthless this bird really is. Mm-hmm. It's saying that they're greedy. What does our law tell us to do with our field? They're greedy. They don't leave nothing behind. What does our law directly tell us about our field? To leave the corners of it for the poor is letting you know that they greedy. They don't do none of that, but they know this. They grew up in Abraham's house. John?
The age limit placed on servitude. You talking about age limit in the temple? Not that I can think of. Well, that was directly talking about the Levites too. No.
No. Because how when you put yours out to work at what age? When you put yours out to work, what age is it? Usually when you put your kids out to work, how old are they?
Thank you, sir. Hey, can you do me one more favor? Give me that other mic right there. Talking about the priest. Levites in the service of the temple.
All right.
Are you done? No, no, no. You don't like this poison?
So keeping the feast days, is that like optional or mandatory? They can hear me. Oh, everybody can. Keeping the feast days, is that optional or mandatory?
Ask controversy stuff.
One question per participant. And
Q&A day.
so you gotta hold that till next week, sir.
So it's not Q&A day.
Yes, but you get one.
Come on. Kitchen is open. The fire is hot. It's only loaded if you misunderstand.
Antoine asks questions that's controversial.
Yeah, I like his statement better. Ask controversial questions.
That's why
Questions that mean something.
No, he asks questions that's gonna start drama.
Check, check, check.
On Discord.
Numbers chapter 8 at verse 22.
Brothers always fight after you have questions.
You said numbers 8 and 2?
Numbers 8:22.
I'll read it. Numbers 8 and 22. And after that went the Levites in to do their service in the tabernacle of the congregation before Aharon and before his sons, as Yahuwah had commanded Moses concerning the Levites, so did they unto them. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, This is that belongs unto the Levites. From 25 years old and upward, they shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And from the age of 50 years, they shall cease waiting upon the service thereof, and shall serve no more.
So that's what I was referring to. 25 to 50. We good with that? I think it's another one in Numbers 4. Go ahead. Oh, wait. These are separate questions or questions based on that? Okay. Hold on. Is this based on that? Okay. So who was next? I'm sorry. What you got out? And then we'll.
So I had a question about Deuteronomy 25:11. It's considered a miscellaneous law, but it says when men fight with one another, and a man and his brother, and the wife of one shall draw near to rescue her husband from the hand of one striking him, and shall put out her hand and take hold of him by the genitals, then you shall cut off her hand. Your eye does not pardon.
So what's the question?
Why is her hand getting cut off, and what is like?
Because she shouldn't have grabbed that man by his joint.
If somebody's fighting me, and okay, so it's a difference between grabbing and maybe hitting them in the. It's, I don't know. It's just.
Be angry.
Well, your
Say,
husband
no.
She getting beat up. We fighting. So I'm just
So-
trying to figure out.
So again, it says, when men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draw near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smite her, and she put forth her hands and take him by his secrets,
Okay.
then you shall cut off her hand. It's not about her coming to his rescue.
This
You
is
don't
her
grab that
coming-
man by his secret parts.
So and who's supposed to cut off the hand, me or him?
That's a good question.
It's Deuteronomy 25:11.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm glad we're not living in this time.
Right. All right. I just was curious.
Is there anything like that at all in the scriptures?
I don't know.
It's the fact that she grabbed this man by his genitals. If she would have just moved him out the way, pushed him, why did you go? I mean, you knew why you went.
Went straight for the nads.
But not, yeah.
All right.
I ain't gonna lie. I think that's justifiable. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, that hurt. She ain't coming with good intent. You might not be able to have kids after that. Question on that? Okay, hold on. So we gonna hit.
Okay. So in Judges 19, when the Levite had the concubine, right? And he was at the father's house. The father was trying to get them to stay. And then they left, sojourned, went into somebody else's house. And then people came and knocked on the door, but they gave they said, take my daughter and take the concubine, right? And do what you want with her. But they took the concubine and they was very brutal to her, right? I don't get, what did Benjamin have to do with this, and why? I might have missed it, but I also don't understand why Benjamin was cut off when this was the Levite who took this woman. You get what I'm saying? I'm having a hard time trying to process my question.
I believe this happened in their land, in the
Where the Benjamins resided?
Yeah, and they didn't do nothing about it.
Okay.
So
I
they
think
like, look, y'all just gonna let dog come in here and do this? Y'all ain't take care of that?
Okay, so then I was seeing that the Levite didn't even get punishment, but they cut off Benjamin.
You talking about the Levite that did it? Yeah. That was the whole reason, I believe, that happened with Benjamin. Nobody got brought up on charge. Like, basically, y'all just let this happen and ain't do nothing about it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's like, look, this is heinous. Y'all didn't do nothing about this. Cool. Y'all cut off. Was what the Levite? Ooh, see. Was what the Levite did against the law? You talking about in? Let's read it. Let's read it. 19 and. Are you saying okay? Which part is the? Are you talking about after she died, or?
Okay, so was it? I probably need to go back because I read this about a few weeks ago, and it was just a question. It's probably in my head since it's question and answers. But for one, was it a Benjamite that did this to her? And then I questioned to myself. I questioned because the man went back and chopped her up.
Where's the story at?
It's Judges 19.
Yeah, but
You saying did he get punished for chopping her up?
he didn't.
But that wasn't his. That he was showing a point. They killed my concubine. She was already dead. Hold on.
I'm not. Give me the question again.
I guess I was just really just trying to understand why was it the Benjamites who got cut off from Israel when it was the Levite who allowed for all of this to happen. So what did the Benjamites have to even
Read
do
at
with
19 and read at 19 and start at verse 21.
All right. Judges 19 and 21. So he brought him into his house and gave provender unto the donkeys, and they washed after their feet, and did eat and drink. Now as they were making their hearts merry with opulence, behold, the men of the city
They're going to say we be adding to the book. That boy was so smooth with that.
now as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thine house, that we may know him. This is just like Sodom and Gomorrah. And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them and said unto them, Nay, my brethren, nay, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is come into mine house. In my house, do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Them will I bring out now, and humble ye them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so vile a thing. But the men would not listen to him. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth unto them, and they knew her, and abused her all the night unto the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door at the man's house where her Lord was, till it was light. And her master rose up in the morning, and opened the door of the house, and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, Up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then the man took her upon his donkey, and
Hold on. Say that again.
And he said unto her, Up, and let us be going.
So he told her to get up. And what happened?
But none answered.
She didn't answer.
Then the man took her up upon his donkey, and the man rose up and gat him unto his place. And when he was come unto the house, he took a knife and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces, and sent her into all the coast of Israel. And it was so that all that saw it said, There was no such deed done nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider it, take advice, and speak your minds.
Read the next chapter. So this is about to be how Benjamin came into play. But my assumption here is when he was talking to her and she didn't respond, that she was dead. She laid there from all night to the morning, right? He opened his doors. He seen her there. He left to go grab his donkey. He came back and he was talking to her, and she didn't respond. So that's why my assumption was that she died, right? But read chapter 20, verse 1.
She was definitely brutally raped. Then, Judges 20:1. Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man from Dan even to Beersheba, with the land of the Gilead unto Yahuwah of Mizpeh. And the chief of all the people, even all the tribes of Israel, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of Elohim, 400,000 footmen that drew sword. What's that word? Swords. My bad, swords. Yes, sword was with the swords. Okay, sword. Now the children of the Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone up to Mizpeh. Then said the children of Israel, "Tell us, how was this wickedness?"
Tell us what happened. What's going on? Come on.
And the Levites, the husband of the woman that was slain.
The woman that was what?
The woman that was slain.
So, again, right? Like, some can think that he killed her, but she was slain. I'm assuming this is talking about when they did what they did to her. Now, go ahead.
And the Levite, the husband of the woman that was slain, answered and said, I came into Gibeah that belongeth to Benjamin.
That belonged to who?
To Benjamin.
Uh-huh.
I and my concubine to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose against me.
So the reason why they're putting the people of Benjamin into the fire, so to speak, is because this was their land. You know what I'm saying? The people of Gibeah rose up to do this, and Gibeah is owned by Benjamin.
This man who put the woman out to get raped, why wasn't he the one that got into some type of trouble instead of Benjamin? Because these people were not even around. They didn't even know what was going on for them to even stand up to protect her. That was just my misunderstanding after I read it, but the scriptures don't even say that at all.
So what was she?
She was a whore, I think. Let me see. She was a concubine.
Go back to 19 and 2.
She was a whore. She played the whore.
Yeah, read that.
19:2. And his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Yehudah, and was there 4 whole months.
So, what's supposed to happen to whores?
She's supposed to get stoned.
So she didn't get the actual burning, but yeah, she played the harlot.
Okay.
Is your question based on like, because this is not the first time this happened in the scriptures. Like, why are men?
No, it's not because I'm not thinking about it as man and woman type thing.
Mhm.
I just had no understanding why it was Benjamin that got cut off. They literally got cut off from the 12 tribes because of this. And I just question why did they get cut off because of this? You know what I'm saying? That's a pivotal part in Israel history.
Yeah.
To get cut off. I'm not thinking about a man versus woman or woman versus man rights or anything like that. I just can't understand why did they just take them away like that, and they didn't even know what was even going on. They couldn't help the fact that this man gave this woman away.
No. It was the fact that these men of Gibeah came against him to this door, right? So these were the men of Benjamin.
Yes.
Yeah, the men of Benjamin. Yeah.
They are doing exactly what the men at Sodom and Gomorrah were doing.
Yeah, they was their land. That's what I'm saying. It's, okay, yeah.
Yes.
They were what they call them sons of Belial. So fill in the blank for today's time.
Belial was another word for Satan or the devil.
Son of the wicked one. These sons of the devil.
Right, so you see them Jamaicans was doing this. Psst, just joking. Just kidding, just kidding.
Oh yeah, cool. They didn't. Was it Benjamin that didn't come up when they had that meeting or something like that? I think that was still Judges. I think that's Judges 20. A couple things that transpired there. Though. Go ahead. Unmute that mic. Huh?
In Revelations chapter 7, what happened to the children of Dan?
Okay.
Or a better question is, why weren't they named amongst the 12 tribes? Revelations chapter 7.
So it's two tribes from that's missing. What two tribes? Of course, Dan is one. What's the other one?
I don't remember the other one.
Was it Gad?
It's Ephraim.
Ephraim. Manasseh. Manasseh and Ephraim are
Yeah.
half tribes.
So the reason that they're not in is because they were the ones that led off into the idolatry in the book of Kings. Dan and Ephraim.
Ephraim and Manasseh.
Joseph has both of them is in there.
But only one is mentioned.
Right. Let's go to it and go read it. No, Revelation.
Revelation chapter 7 and verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Nephthalim were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon.
Now notice Manasseh is directly mentioned. So Manasseh and Ephraim is supposed to be what? The two quote unquote half tribes. But Manasseh is mentioned. Right? Read on.
Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. And after that I behold a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindred and people and tongues, and stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and with palms in their hand.
So it's in the law, exactly, but I can't remember exactly where it's at. And it shows that if you go off into this idolatry, that your name would be cut off, not out of the book, but that's why they are not mentioned in the 144,000, because they led the charge into the idolatry. When I find it, I got you.
Oh, hold on.
Let's go back up here real quick.
Oh no, he cut off from that. Go. Go.
So my question is, with that, because Ephraim is not mentioned, nor is Dan, does that assume that Manasseh now is a whole tribe in this section, and Joseph now is one as well? Or because Manasseh was a half tribe.
That's a good question. So I got to go back and look at that part.
But Ephraim.
Yeah, yeah. They would still be the same thing. The only thing is, they're just not a part of the 144,000. They still exactly what they are. They just not in the 144,000.
Yeah.
They don't have a representation in that.
They still got a place, right? In Ezekiel, you know what I'm saying, it's mentioned in their land or whatever have you. They just don't have 12,000 as far as going to war.
Are y'all saying like Ephraim didn't have his own name, or that because it says Joseph and he was the father of Ephraim and Manasseh.
Right. He's the father of that. But if you're saying you're saying what I think you're saying, it shouldn't mention Manasseh.
Right.
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 Both of them.
But it mentions Manasseh by name and not Ephraim. Like I told you, I'm going to find, it's in the law that tell you directly this. And it takes you to the kings, and it shows you that Ephraim and Manasseh are the two that brought in idolatry.
It's you talking about Leviticus 20 and 1, where it says they're gonna get cut off, that you'll cut them off from among some people.
And they shall not make baldness upon Leviticus 21 what? No, this is not it. Hold on. Yeah, that's what, exactly.
And while he looking for that, all in all, just for everybody to understand, that when it says that he grabbed 144,000 of the tribes of Israel, it's just that they're not mentioned in the fight with the 144,000. Not that they're not a tribe anymore, not that they don't have an inheritance in the land anymore, because Ezekiel 48 still mentions them as having their own portion, having their own people. People can sojourn among them. You get what I'm saying? So, because a lot of people misunderstand that as thinking, oh, they're not a tribe no more at that time. Or nope, it's mentioned in 144,000, and that's it. Got their own gates.
It's in
Ezekiel
Ezekiel
40.
47 and 48.
So here we go. Ezekiel 48. It says, "Now these are the names of the tribes from the north end to the coast of the way of Hethlon, as one that goes to Hamath and Hazar Anan, the border of Damascus, northward to the coast of Hamath. For these are his sides, east and west, a portion for Dan. And the border of Dan from east side to the west side, a portion for Asher. And by the border of Asher on the east side to the west side, a portion for Naphtali. And on the border of Naphtali from east to west is Manasseh. And on the border of Manasseh from east to west is Ephraim." So both of them still got their own gates, their own city, their own portion, their own part.
Wait, so those gates are going into the kingdom, correct?
This is talking about the setup of the 1,000-year reign.
Okay. So again, when it was talking about them being cut off, it's talking about being cut off from the 144,000. That's what you're saying. You're talking about Dan being cut off.
They weren't worthy enough to fight with the 144,000. Remember, it says that these men will be they that have not done what? They've been defiled with women
and
their
beguiled
entire
in their
tribes were
clean.
in idolatry.
I got you.
So they can't be a part of that now.
I got you.
That's so fire.
I got a question. I got a real controversial question.
Okay, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Was that the end of your question, sister? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Op.
Is that the last one?
Was that the last question before your question? Did somebody else have a question before he getting ready to ask a question? You have one? Okay.
Thank you. I had asked about this before. I believe you had said that Quab had information about what I call the mystery about Ezekiel's temple, because when I was reading and studying about it, that none of the temples that actually existed were of those dimensions. So when I first read about it, I thought that it was a temple that would be in the millennium in the city. But it speaks of animal sacrifices, which people find that to be contradictory, or that would not happen, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm wondering what place it has and what proof there is finally of what Ezekiel's, is what they call Ezekiel's temple. That's described in Ezekiel. It's at least what it is, what its significance is.
And what it mentioned in the animal sacrifices.
That
right.
Too. And when it will be, or was it supposed to be built by Zerubbabel and he didn't follow through or something? What exactly is it? Yeah, sneaking up on
So. All right, now. We're going to talk about a little thing right here. B, you know what I'm talking about? Sheesh.
I was going to ask a question
Sheesh.
on the side.
Okay, strap your seatbelts on, people. We're going on a ride.
Can you explain something to me?
Yes.
In Matthew chapter 5, verse...
All right. Okay, give me 1 second. Doc, about to... All right, go ahead.
Isaiah 65.
Okay, cool. So the question is about the temple that was mentioned of in Ezekiel, and it's also along, like, where did where its place is, what time period is this, and the animal sacrifices in that particular temple. How does this all relate? Right? Okay. We just been talking about this kind of for the last couple days, right?
Yeah, let's get Isaiah 65. Pick it up at verse 19.
Isaiah 65 and 19. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying.
Nor the what?
Nor the voice of crying.
So who is this speaking right here? According to your understanding. Who's speaking in this verse? Read it again.
And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people. And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying.
Okay. So when you hear that, who you believe this is speaking? Okay. And what time frame do you think this is speaking of? In the millennium. Read the next verse.
There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that have not fulfilled his days, for the child shall die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed.
So we can see that in the millennial kingdom, people are still going to be able to do what?
Sin.
Sin. They're going to still be able to die. So since death is still there, therefore it's still going to be sacrifices that's still going to be going on.
Hallelujah.
Right?
So what we've been talking about as of lately, we're gonna just be brief. We ain't gonna go into all this. Okay? Get Matthew 5 and 17.
Get your seatbelts.
You said we don't really want a Q&A? We getting asked questions right now. Oh, we about to go into it. It's just a part of a lesson, so we ain't trying to.
It has to be broken down. Patience.
Matthew 5 and 17. All right, what do we come to Matthew 5 and 17 for, people?
We still got to keep the law because the sun and the heavens and earth still here.
All right. Oh, boy.
That's what it is.
I know you excited like I'm excited, Doc. I know. Come
Matthew 5:17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So when we come here, we say, I ain't think not that I'm come to destroy the law of the prophets. I ain't come to destroy, but to fulfill. We use this when speaking to Christians, Jehovah's Witness, Muslims, Baptists, Catholic, whoever, to let them know that we still are supposed to do what? Keep the law. Did we ever really go into this and understand what he is saying? Read it again.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets.
I'm not come. That means that what's at question at this particular point is what? The law and the prophets. I didn't come to destroy them, but I came to do what? Fulfill it or fulfill them? Them. Right? Law and prophets. Right? Come on.
For verily I say unto you.
When he say verily, what do verily mean? Truly, I say to you that what?
Till Shamayim and Eretz pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
Hallelujah, right? So what is this showing? What do we say? What you still see above us? What you still see under us? That mean that the law is going to what? It's going to stand. But that man said one key word in here that we bypass like it's not even there. till.
If you talk to him, stop it.
He said till. Right? What is when somebody says until something, what does that mean? It's going to happen until, meaning there's a stopping point for this. So he says until what? All
be fulfilled.
So what's going to pass away? Heaven and earth is going to pass away. Right? So heaven and earth is going to pass away. What's the subject of this conversation? Read verse 17 again.
Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets.
I didn't come to destroy what?
The Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete or fulfill. For truly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one yod or one tittle shall by no means pass from the Torah.
When?
Till all be done.
So when heaven and earth pass and everything is fulfilled, what's going to happen to the Torah? It's going to be done. There's no more Torah. Perfect. So when we talking about the kingdom, right? We have 1,000-year reign. And then we also have a what? An eternal reign. Right? So when he's talking about heaven and earth passing, this comes when? After what? After the 1,000-year reign. So during the 1,000-year reign, we still have sin. We still have death. We still have sacrifices, the whole nine. But after that's over with, there's not going to be any of that. Why? Because he says, because flesh and blood shall not enter into the kingdom. So if this was the eternal reign, we know it can't be sacrifices because what's not there? Flesh and blood, right? So this is during the 1,000-year reign that he's talking about as far as that temple, right? Should we? Yeah, should we? Let's roll. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Let's roll.
All right. So now, how long y'all been in this word? Knowing of the, get me Galatians chapter 3. I'm sorry. Give me Galatians chapter 3. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. I love you, you love me. We here. I know. Give me Galatians, the 3rd chapter. We ain't even going to go to 28 yet. Galatians chapter 3. Let's pick it up at verse 18.
Galatians chapter 3 and verse 18. For if by the inheritance be of the law.
So when he's talking about inheritance, what is he talking about? Inheritance. Who was the inheritance for? Who did he promise this to? To the children of Israel through who? Through Abraham, right? Then we got Mashiach, our Savior, that came, yes? He says, if the inheritance be through the law, then what?
It is no more of promise.
It's no more of what?
Of promise.
Of promise, right? So if the law is involved in that, then that means that there is no promise. It's contrary. There is no law and inheritance together. Come on.
But Elohim gave it to Abraham by promise. Wherefore then severeth the law.
Then for what?
Wherefore then severeth the law.
He said, for what purpose serves the law? I'm going to ask y'all, what purpose do the law serve? To teach you, okay? What else? To lead you to the Mashiach. Once you get to Mashiach, what purpose does the law serve? It don't serve a purpose after that. Come on.
Wherefore there serveth the law. It was added because of transgression.
What was the law added for?
Because of transgressions.
Why was the law added? So before the law was added, there was no what? There was no transgression. Right? Now, if the law was added for transgression, why should it be taken away? Because it's not going to be no more transgression, right? And Elohim's eternal reign, it said that what's not going to be in there? No sin, which means that there is no... That is a part of what I'm saying. And why did those things come about is what we're trying to figure out. Agreed, right? All right. Read what you got.
Wherefore then served the law. It was added because of transgression, till the chosen seed, till the seed should come, into whom the promise was made, and it was ordained by the angels in the hand of the mediator. Now a mediator is not a mediator of one, but Elohim is one. Is the law then against the promise?
So why did he have to ask this question? Why did he have to ask, is the law against the promise? Right. So he's showing them in a contrasting light. He's showing them in a light to where you got either you're going to hold on to this law or you're going to hold on to this promise. Which one? So he got to ask the question so people won't think that he's saying that the law is something bad. There's something bad about it. Read that again.
Is the law then against the promises?
So he's asking, is the law then against the promises? Based off what I just said, is the law then against the promise? What'd he say? It's not. Right? Come on.
Is the law then against the promises of Elohim? Elohim forbid. For if these had been a law given which could have given life, verily righteousness should have been by the law.
He said if the law could have gave you life, righteousness would have been by the law. But it couldn't do it. The law couldn't give us righteousness. Let me say this. I am not saying that we don't have to keep the law. Let me say it twice. I am not saying we don't have to keep the law. Let me say it one more time. I am not saying we don't have to keep the law. But the understanding that Paul had been laying down, which people say is hard to understand, is this. Because he's speaking beyond a person who says that they are a law keeper. He's speaking to somebody that is engulfed as a believer, full faith, full assurance in Mashiach. All right? So walk with me. Go ahead, read.
Could have given life, verily righteousness should have been by the law.
He said it could have given, he said if it would have given life, righteousness would have been by the law. How did the law not give life? It was all about death, punishment, right? Why though? No, I mean, we it's Q&A, baby. Life and good, death and evil. You got to understand what he just said. I set before you what? And hold on to that. Hold on to that. What you about to say?
what I was saying is that the law itself was more so the instruction, whether opposed to the reason why we're keeping the law, the true understanding of. It's like if I tell my daughter not to put a hand in a socket, she not really gonna get that understanding until I break it. Hey, this is the reason why there's electricity in there, and I think that's why what Mashiach brought, the understanding of the law and how to fulfill it, as opposed to just the letter and hey, son, this is my instructions. Keep them, instead of hey, these are my instructions and this is why you keep them. This is the essence of the law in itself and why I gave you the instruction in the first place.
So let me ask this. What if your daughter is not touching that plug simply because you said don't touch it?
Then I believe that that's just her being obedient as opposed to her really trusting in what my words say. It's not
It's
a faith.
not a faith. That's what we deal with believers. We keep the letter because it says don't do this, don't do that. And it only happens until we don't get to that point where we want to follow that part. Right? So what Paul is speaking about is something beyond. It's beyond you doing it because it says do it or don't do it. And it's a why. Like he said, it's that understanding. And it's when we go back into the law, the purpose of us going back into the law now, 5 years in the game, 10 years in the game, 7 years in the game, whatever have you. The purpose of going back into the law is not for you to decipher what you're doing right and wrong. Because you're supposed to already be walking that. The only purpose to go back into the law at that point is to get understanding. Get understanding of who? Of Mashiach. But we gonna see something. It's because it's. Come on, keep reading.
But the scriptures have concluded all under sin.
He said the scriptures have concluded all what?
All under sin.
All under sin. Read.
That the promise by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach might be given to them that believe.
So everybody is considered to be under sin. So the promise is only going to be given to the people that what? Not that keep the law. That believe. So, like, remember we were talking about there are going to be people who air quotations say they keep the law, but they aren't really believers. Right? We'll get to it. I'm going to show you something real quick. Go ahead. What I lack yet? You lack me. Follow me. Right? Hallelujah. Right? Come on.
But before faith came, we were kept under the law.
Hold on, man. What did it say?
But before faith came, we were kept under the law.
So people who are of another faith or other faiths look at this. This is some type of derogatory thing about the law. He's not talking about the law not being good. He's telling you before we were subject and kept under the law, which means that there was a cycle of death that continued. Because the law didn't make you believe or keep you from sinning. It couldn't do that. Right? It's not there for that. It's there to guide you to a place. Right? So once you just keeping the law just because it say don't do it, you're going to get to the point where you're going to sin. It's going to happen. And sin, once it's brought forth, brings what?
Death.
So it's a continuous cycle of death. He said before faith came what?
We were kept under the law.
It says that in Hebrews, the 4th chapter, it says those first group of people entered not in because of what?
Unbelief.
Unbelief. They didn't believe. So they kept going into this cycle of sin after sin after sin after sin. They didn't believe nothing. They didn't make it. They for sure was wearing fringes. What? Come on now. Come on now. Oh yeah, that's what the Ak was saying.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
what must I do to get the kingdom?
Right.
He said, I've been keeping the commandments my whole life. What lack I yet? Me, son. Right? Go ahead and read.
Hold on. My joint jumped away.
Verse 20.
23. But before faith came, we were kept under the law, shut up unto the faith. Which
He says what?
shut up unto the faith.
Look at the verbiage. It says that the law shuts you up to faith. Do anybody have this testimony? When I was in church, I felt like I had my spirit was all on 1,000, this, that, and the third. When I came into this truth and I started looking at the law, it was like, dang, my spirit gone. I know the law gone. Well, it wasn't all a bad thing, right? Because you got to break away from all of the stuff that he didn't want. The zeal not according to knowledge, to build that thing back up based on the instructions and the guide and the manual. Now that you have that in you, when you get that spirit filled, that ruach, when you actually obtain the ruach from that point on, it's not based on something that don't have a foundation. It's based on foundation in your actions. I'm living this, right? Come on.
Wherefore, but before faith came, we were kept under the law, shut up unto the faith, which should afterwards be revealed.
Which afterwards be what?
Shall be revealed.
Come on.
Wherefore, the law was our schoolmaster.
It was our what?
Schoolmaster.
It was our schoolmaster. What's a schoolmaster? It says teacher. That's what we look at it as. It's a teacher. That's not what they meant.
It is a tutor, i.e., a guardian and a guide of boys.
A what?
A guardian and a guide of boys.
If you look in Greek culture, the guardian and the guide of boys was a person that would literally be like this with a child until manhood. When it come to brushing their teeth, they ensured that, hey man, you got to brush your teeth. Hey man, you got to comb your hair. Hey man, you got to do this. Hey man, you got to do that. When press your clothes out, they go outside, they walk them to school. When they walk into the school, don't go down this road, don't go down that road, don't do this, don't do that. All the way up until manhood. Once they've reached manhood, there's no longer a need for what? For the guide. Why? Because when I get up in the morning, what am I doing? I know I'm brushing my teeth. I'm combing my hair. I'm putting my clothes on. I know that I'm supposed to set my clothes out the night before. I know when I walk to school, I'm not supposed to turn down this way. That's the alley. That's where the thugs be at. I know I ain't supposed to go over here. I'm going straight to school. It said the law was our schoolmaster to do what?
To bring us unto Mashiach.
To bring us unto who?
To Mashiach.
Hold what you got. We coming back there. Go to Isaiah chapter 2 and verse 1. It says it was our schoolmaster to bring us to Mashiach. Go ahead, up.
Are you saying that people were keeping the law without believing?
Absolutely.
So can you? All right. So, but you can't keep you can't. All right. So
I get it, bro. Listen,
right.
The way your brain is doing this.
Yeah.
Let me give you something.
Because I'm thinking of two scriptures right now. Like that's what's getting to me right now. It's,
I got you.
It's one in the Ecclesiasticus where it says that he that believeth upon the Lord keepeth his commandments. And then there's one in John chapter 14 that says that if you love me, keep my commandments. And then it's before that in 13 it says believe. He that believeth on me, the works that I do, he shall do also.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what.
So you can have an absence of belief and keep the commandments. Hence, Old Testament only believers.
Right. But you
What do they
can't
do?
believe without keeping the commandments,
It's
right?
impossible to believe without keeping it.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. All right. Where I got you at?
Isaiah chapter 2.
Isaiah chapter 2, it says, the laws are a schoolmaster to bring us unto who? Unto Mashiach. Walk with me now. Come on.
Isaiah 2 and what?
Yeah.
2 and 1?
2 and 1, yeah.
Isaiah chapter 2 and 1. the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last day.
And what?
In the last day.
That what?
That the mountain of Yahuwah's house shall be established.
Now, what reign is this when he say the mountain of the mountain is going to be established? It's the millennial reign. Right? Come on.
The house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills, and all the nations shall flow into it.
They're going to do what?
All the nations shall flow into it.
They're going to come to it. And what's going to happen?
And many people shall go and say, Come, ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of Elohim of Jacob, and he will teach us.
He will do what?
He will teach us.
I'm guiding you to where you're going to get the rest of this information from. He said he's going to do what?
He will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem.
Hallelujah. So the law that we have now is a guide. It's merely something to help us grow into manhood or womanhood.
Just in that scripture, define house of Yahuwah. Would that be the temple?
Yes.
And that's that Ezekiel's temple.
That is what it's talking about in that millennial reign.
We can get a vision of Israel, the people of Israel, and the nations filing into
Absolutely.
that Ezekiel's temple.
Absolutely.
In the millennium.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let's go back to Galatians. Right? So we got this man teaching us now. Right? Remember, it says that he's going to rule with a what?
Iron rod.
A rod of iron. Why will he rule with a rod of iron?
To correct.
Because I just told y'all what it is and what it ain't. Right? It's where you got to keep that law. Because if you don't keep the law, you get destroyed on the spot. One will be behind a tree eating swine's flesh, getting destroyed. All right? Galatians 3 again.
Galatians 3:24.
So a lot of times when we come to Galatians, a lot of people ask, how do we break down Galatians so we can tell the people that we still got to keep the law? When we'll go in and we'll talk about what Paul is saying in a way where we're making it him saying that we still have to do it in the way that we're talking about. When Paul's saying what he's saying, he's not going against the law at all whatsoever. But it's not for us to twist it to make Paul say, keep the law. This is what he's saying. This, that. That's not what he's saying. Let's look at what it say now. Come on.
Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster or guide to bring us to Mashiach, that we might be justified by faith.
That we might be justified by what?
By faith.
He says that we might be justified by faith. When Mashiach was walking the earth and that man came to him and said, hey, my people's sick at the crib. He said, well, look, where I got to go. He said, you ain't got to come. I know your word is true. If you just say it, it's going to be done. That man said, I ain't seen so much faith in Israel, because he actually believed. Right? Come on.
But after that, faith is come. We are no longer under a schoolmaster.
We are no longer under a what?
Under a schoolmaster.
Under a guide. Now, what does this mean, y'all? It's going to be a real controversial video. A lot of people going to be like, this chosen seed is crazy, man. Read it again, Doc.
Read it again.
Come on.
But after that, faith is come. We are no longer under a guide.
Hold on, B.
Look at OJ.
So
No, it's for the stream too, because the stream pick up the.
So basically, it's saying that like the law being the schoolmaster, teaching us from the youth, like when we first come into the walk, so to speak. And after we have kept the law to the point where now we believe, so once the faith is there of the belief, now we don't need to be led there anymore because we're there. Yeah. So now the law is on your heart. So now the
Hallelujah.
things that the law is telling you perform without having to look and see, and you don't try to loophole your way around it.
Bingo. Bingo. What happens is this. We go by the letter of the law and find places inside of the letter where there's space or room. And we say, well, this, for example, the guard around the Torah. Well, we can't break the Shabbat. But that stranger over here from outside of the city, come on in here and do this work for me. I ain't working. Or, hey, we have a Sabbath and we feel like we can't carry money on the Sabbath. Put this money in your pocket for me. You said you had somebody do that to you? Did you keep it?
You talking about the wine?
People don't think that you can use electricity on the Sabbath. It might have been Passover or Feast of Weeks 1, but he had wine in his refrigerator, and he couldn't go in his refrigerator and get it because the light would come on. So he came and he got me. He didn't even speak English good. He came and got me. Hey, what's up? Frigidaire. I'm like, what you talking about? He pointing at it like, open. I opened it up. He's like, get. And I got the wine out. He gave me one, like, here.
That boy made me break it.
But I didn't know what I'm like, man, he tripped. Like,
yeah.
This dude couldn't go in his own refrigerator, but that's why. He had me do it because then he wasn't breaking it.
Exactly.
Come on in, Gentile. Gentile.
This is exactly what the law. When you have people that study the law, what they'll do is, well, people that study the law that's, ain't on the up and up all the way. They'll take what they see in the law and they'll give but it don't say. But it don't say this. And because it don't say this, the whole law in general and what it's trying to get you to be is washed away. We missing the point. I'm not trying to tell you just this instruction, and this instruction to make you say, oh, well, you didn't say this, right? Hey, look, I got some pork rinds. Where it tell me I can't eat no chips at?
Exactly. So why? It don't say it. It don't say pork rinds. I can eat it.
It said don't eat the carcass. This is just a little bit of skin. What I'm saying is this is how we have the following of the law by the letter. And we're not understanding that Paul is trying to tell you, dog, it's bigger than that, man. The law was added because you committed sin. It was added for your transgression. Go ahead.
So, what is the sin of sins?
Blasphemy of the Ruach HaKodesh.
No. What is the sin that causes all sin? Pride. But nowhere in the law does it tell you, thou shalt not be pride. Thou shalt not be prideful. Nowhere in it does it say that.
Yep.
Right? But we know through the spirit of the law that this is what it is. This is the one that causes all the rest of them. So if you were to blaspheme the Ruach, what would cause you to do it? It would be pride. So that other one cannot be it. But this is where you're trying to get to. It don't tell you that you can't be prideful.
Nope.
But this is the one that leads to all the rest of them.
I said this before. I said Quab went into pride. And how many of y'all saw an increase in pride around here? As we learned more and more about pride, how many of y'all seen people get more prideful?
Where?
Right?
You talking about in amongst us?
I'm talking about in here.
I can't testify.
Like, man, hey, brother, you being prideful. Because now we're able to identify pride. But a lot of people didn't take the time to figure out what was the remedy to it. There was no understanding to it. It was the allure of showing what pride was, but not understanding how to get rid of it. Oh, brother, you being prideful. Man, that brother being prideful. Bro, that's pride.
Oh, that kind of stuff.
What's the answer? How do we stop doing it? Oh, you got to be humble. What do that mean? We didn't understand it. It's the same thing with the law. We started to learn the law, and the more law we learned, the more sin we found. To the point where you get to that place where you're like, I'm just trying to live my life, not to sin. I'm not even enjoying my life because I'm trying to figure out avenues on where I can just not sin. My whole life is based off of me trying to follow the law. You just missed the point, man. The law was guiding you in your actions for you to know. Okay, don't go over there to the strip club. Where is that in the law? Where it say I can't go to a strip club? Show me right now.
The book of Deuteronomy.
If somebody took a picture of me in the strip club, y'all couldn't say I was sinning. You said don't commit adultery? I ain't commit no adultery. If she married and I'm looking, I don't know she married. Hey, it's ignorance.
That's a sin of ignorance, no.
Bottom line is, it's not in the law. But you know, in your heart of hearts, you shouldn't be in no. Let's go back to Galatians. Come on, because we got to get a couple more of these scriptures. Y'all understand where I'm going now. Y'all with me?
He's still here.
What you got, Yeah.
All right, so
Yep. Exactly, bro.
Come on with it, Doc. Let's get it.
so I was making my little cousin some food today, and I made her some pancakes, and I was like, "What else y'all want?" And they were like, "We want bacon." You know what I'm saying? You know they still eat pork. You feel me? So I was like, "Well, you're gonna have to make that yourself." and so. And so they got to doing it, but then it was like, dang, can you help me? Because I always tear it up when I try to take it out the pack. So I grabbed some tongs. You know what I'm saying? And dog, so I just felt some type of way about that junk. You know what I'm saying?
Why did you feel some type of way?
I don't know. Dog.
Does the Bible say, did you eat the bacon?
No.
What did it tell you not to do with pork?
It told me not to eat it.
But you know what the loophole is?
Dog,
I ain't eat it. I ain't touch it.
Right, but it's like I gave it to him though. Like I should have
What I'm saying is, and the reason you feel away is because as a believer, it's like, look, man, all I can do is make you some pancakes, bro. I can't deal with no bacon with you. Right?
type deal.
Not to say, well, shoot, I mean, I ain't eat it. Let me go ahead and, you feel me?
Right.
And that particular, because you had a choice.
Right.
Right? Read what you got.
For you are all the children of Elohim by faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. For as many as you have been immersed into Hamashiach have put on Hamashiach. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Hamashiach. And if ye be Hamashiachs, then are ye Abraham's seed.
So he's calling you Abraham's seed.
I'm going to ask y'all a question. Man. What was attributed to Abraham for righteousness? Faith. What law did Abraham have?
He didn't have a law.
When we go and we nitpick at the law, I'm going to tell you what somebody told me. That's what a sinner do. That's what a sinner do. Because your walk and your actions are supposed to be mirroring that of Mashiach. Right? You shouldn't have to question, oh, dang, did I just break the law? What do you mean did you just break the law? I just kind of stole that a little bit. What do you mean? Your integrity shouldn't have to drive you back to the law every time you do something. Because you know better. A lot of times when we go back into the law after we felt like we've done something wrong, it's to justify why we just did that and it being okay. Well, it only said this.